to be here.
Yeah. Nice one, nice one, nice one. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Because without you guys, none of this would be a possibility. And we're all everyone on the server is super grateful for you for making such a wonderful server and having such an awesome radio fucking station too as well. So yeah, just thank you. So guys, anyway, before we start the podcast, do you want to introduce yourselves one by one and say a little bit about yourselves? So, Legend, do you want to start? Do you want to go first, my friend?
Yeah, I'm Legend.
Yeah?
One of the owners with my brother, my real life brother, Dragon. Um, been a wild ride, been fun. We enjoy it. So thanks for having us.
It's not a problem, no problem. The pleasure is all ours. So, Dragon, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself as well, sir?
Yeah. I'm Dragon, the youngest, most handsome of the MK brothers. Uh, and just want to say thanks to everybody. We always thought, playing all the servers we gathered, man, I like they if they did this, that'd be cool. If they did that, that'd be cool. And we'd bounce server to server, and just kind of got to the point where you're like, I think we could do it. I think we can do it. Let's try it. And now here we are. So it's blown up more than we ever thought, and we're just trying to evolve with it as it grows.
Well, yeah, that's obviously a big step from being like a member of a server to actually owning your own server, because that's a massive step, and you've got to have big balls, big honies to do something like that. And I just want to applaud you. I want to applaud you right here and say, yeah, well done, you too. Well done, you too. Because you've built something, you built an empire. You built an empire, and you should be super proud of all the hard work that you guys have put in and the success that you guys are reaping now at the moment.
Right.
Well,
And there's a ton of people that's been during this whole process. Tons of people. From like we had to learn everything we know. Dragon codes everything. Knew nothing about that in December of last year. I do all the custom stuff, and I didn't know anything about it either. So we decided, started the Continental on a different server, met tons of awesome people. Uh, they ran around with us while we're server hopping to try to figure out what we're gonna do, and they kept telling us the way y'all do the hotel, the way you've treated everybody, we think you could do a really good server. And we're like, well, we don't know anything about that. That's a different level. And finally, we just one night said, you know what? Let's just do it. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. Never know if you don't try. So we started watching YouTube channels, reading Reddit posts, anywhere we could find information. Dragon self taught himself how to code everything, which is not easy. He actually got the shaft in the partnership. That's why you never see him, because every night he spends no less than 3 hours putting in car spawns, changing car spawns, moving car spawns, coding stuff for the server, getting server 2 ready. I got it a little more easy. I get to do the fun stuff like build the bases, build all the POIs, deal with people more in person. So, but it's been fun, stressful,
Yeah.
fun, easy, hard, but it's been great. We never thought we'd be where we are now with what we have, and it's not just us. I mean, we started out as when we had the server private, trying to figure out how to code it, trying to see if Dragon stuff was working, running with longtime people like Daytrip, uh, Slim, Panda. There's all kinds of people that did runs to make sure everything he's coding is getting into the server, to make sure we can find books and sellables, and for hours and hours and hours. Run from the coast, get to trader, kill yourself. He'd change stuff, log back in, run from the coast again. It was days and weeks and a month of just doing that. And finally,
Wow.
we got it to where he got it down right after many trials and errors. Many times I logged in and say, "Hey, bro, The server's not here no more. Everything's floating. I don't know what you did, but something ain't right.
There was many
And he,
times where we would make an adjustment and it would break something. I mean, coding is it is built where you have to use these signs and these tags and these start lines and stop lines, and if you add an extra comma to the list of custom files that are input into the server, it totally eliminates that file. And I did that twice before we figured out what the problem was. We had uh, golly, we had so many issues. I made great helms where there was about 7 million of them on the server at one point.
yeah,
They were
we had
literally in
people
every
running
house.
around going, because we had a feedback. We had a Discord with the people that came with us from other servers, and their sole job was to run through the server and tell us what was wrong, what was right, what they see, what they didn't see. And the great helm, the night helmet, that I remember Flim said, I found helmet number 8,753,664. It was funny because literally they were in every house, every cabin, everywhere. And I'm like, Dragon, what the hell's going on? Why is there so many helmets in this damn server? And he
And
didn't
all it
know,
was
but he figured it out.
accidentally changing a 0 to a 1. Made it where they didn't count at all, and the server just kept putting them in. I mean, it's just things like that. It was, we took 4 weeks and I think 4 days, 4 weeks and 6 days to test before we went live, and it was every night. Okay, this is the feature we want to focus on. We want to figure out, let's figure out how to put books in just normal houses. We just want them all over the place. Let's figure out how to put cigarettes just in normal houses. And it was like, okay, all right, let's watch some videos. Let's read some Reddits. Let's go through. I'm on a couple different coding discords and just, going through tips and talking to other coders and just trying to figure everything out. And then it was like, okay, I think I got it. We're gonna try it. We're gonna hit a restart. As many people as can jump in, let's jump in and let's just scatter across the map and let's just see what happens. And the next night, okay, we got the books, we got the cigarettes, we got the spray cans. Let's figure out. We want mummy zombies. Let's figure out. We got to get mummy zombies. We want them in these locations. We want them to have these items in their inventory. Let's figure that out. And it would be a couple days of coding in zombies and coding in mummies and
And
changing zombie hordes and tweaking it all and trying to get it right and making them. And I
and
mean, it was
let
just.
me let me say something because I don't think people understand when he says coding. I don't know the exact number, but let's say, and this isn't too far off. There's 190,000 lines of code to run our server. If he's on line number 100 and he makes a mistake and he saves that and puts that into our server, everything from code line 100 to 190,000 will not work. So then, after he's made several changes and whatever he's done, puts it in, I go in the game or someone goes in the game and says, there's no zombies, there's no loot, trader's gone, whatever the problem is. He then has to go back through 190 lines of code and decipher where the extra comma or the space or the missing word or whatever is, fix that so that the rest of the code works. That's something I don't think people realize. Every time he touches those files, I hold my breath because I'm waiting on what happens when I log into the server. Because there's hundreds of people that play it, and it's not just us that we're letting down or disappointing or given a bad experience to. It's hundreds of people that it can affect, and that is something we take very very serious.
Well, those
So
people that have dedicated their time and their money and their their when you join a community, it's a little a little portion, but it is a portion of the free time you
th-
get and you spend it here. That means
of
something.
their
That
life,
is important.
yeah.
Guys, it
and we
sounds like
think
you fucking worked your fucking absolute bollocks off for this server. Absolute heroes of mine, you are, guys. Honest to God, that's absolutely incredible. Because I don't think I'd ever be able to code shit. Right yeah, I bet 99% of the people right yeah listening right now fucking can't just like don't even realize how much fucking hard work you guys have put into the server. Because Legend, you was telling me the other day about how you have to move stuff in Trader and you've got to like balance it on the every single individual. Well, tell them what you do. Tell them.
yeah. So that's editor, and so the trader on this server is 1,839 placements. Each one of those is placed, moved, rotated on all six axes until I get it in the right spot, saved, and then moved to the next thing. Every pair of gloves, every gun, every box of ammo, the walls, the floors. Editor tracks how much time from start to finish. It tells me how many placements I've done. I think it's somewhere just above 100,000 placements, and my time tracked in editor for custom builds, creator, points of interest, prison island, all that stuff. I want to say it's 14 days, 7 hours, and so many minutes. That's actual hours on Daisy editor building the entire time tracking.
And the
So
testament to
it's a lot.
that, to the time in editor, I keep on my laptop. I keep a run. So Legend uses them like live files, like the trader file, for instance. When he edits the trader file, he only keeps the most current one, and then he saves it. Uses an export to turns it into live physical game into code lines that I can then take and code into the server to actually bring that into the game. I keep every iteration he emails me, and then I just number them. They're Trader 1, Trader 2, Trader 3, Trader 4. We are currently on Trader iteration 37, just from basic tweaks, adding this or that, removing this or that. Adding the pickup rooms was a big deal, so that's a big jump. But there's, and to the average survivor, Trader hasn't changed. Trader has been the same Trader's always been, but we've gotten, we had to add the rest of the flags. We didn't think we were going to get to that many flags, so we had to go in and add them all. We didn't think that we were going to sell as many punch cards as we have. We had to go in and double the punch cards. We had to go in and double the ammo. We had to go in and add more outfit selections because everybody's coming in wanting to look a little bit different than everybody else. And so Trader is the most, but it is 37. And it is just a testament to how much Legend has dedicated to doing that and getting all these customs. And the grindable thing is a big part of the server, and we think it's awesome, and that is another big part. And it's just it it has been a lot of work, and it's a labor of love. We love it. We talk all the time about how this, we talk about like, oh, we got this problem, we got this problem, we need to find a solution to this. And it's the problems you want to have. It's too many people, the server's full, too many people are on, we got to figure out something else. If we can't, people can't catch Trader, we got to figure something out. It's the right problems to have, and we're just thankful that we have them, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, I seen you the other day, Legend, when he was working on the pickup trader. I don't want to tell everybody I built the pickup trader because I fucking did, right? And contrary to
Right.
what people are saying out there, admin treated me like fucking royalty. They did. And they gave me a free fucking firefighter outfit for helping them as well. But that day, you was pushing on 36 hours, wasn't it? Or something like that? Doing
Yeah.
close to that, wasn't it? You sounded
Yeah.
exhausted by the time, but I'm glad I helped you because you wanted me to
Yeah.
leave, and I
And
was
I,
like, no, I'm
I
helping. I could tell, like, and
well, I,
you sounded
yeah,
absolutely yeah.
I didn't want, you got a life, you're playing the game, you're having fun, and I was just doing something mundane and boring, building gates, and I don't want to affect people if I cannot affect people. That's something I've learned uh, from in the last 2.5 months is lots of people try to help me, and I don't want to put them out. I want to take care of it. I want them to have fun. I don't want them to worry about the thing, the things that I and Dragon worry about every day. Uh, because it does. I'm not gonna lie. There are times where I text or call Dragon and like, I can't do this. I'm done. And he says, "Now calm down. Let's talk about it. Let's think this through." And we talked for 10 minutes, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm just being a crybaby. We got it. Let's go."
Okay, okay.
And
Question. What was the most frustrating moment of this whole server?
uh,
Or if you don't want to say, that's fine. But
no, no, yeah. I think that's a good thing. For me personally, it is the fear because Dragon can break the server so bad we have to reset it. And there's so many hours in programming and coding that it's not the frustrating thing per se, it's the one thing I stress about the most. If he's at home and I know he's adjusting something in the server and I know his kids are awake, I'm like, "Bro, do not touch this shit until your kids are asleep because I need you focused. Do not break this server." Because again, if he does, it's fixable, but it's going to put everybody on this server out. And the last thing I want to do is have to explain to someone who was on their way to Trader with $800,000 worth of sellables, and all of a sudden now the server's gone because we broke it, and maybe they lose their stuff or whatever. So that's how serious I am and he is about making sure we don't affect the players as little as possible because
I
we
got
don't
you.
we don't want to do something that jeopardizes the experience they have on the server. We're all
Okay.
people.
I got you. So yeah, people's happiness, right? That comes first. I get you. You obviously
Right.
you to provide the service. I get you. I get you. So question, Dragon.
Uh-huh.
Dragon, what's the biggest fuck up you made in coding? What's the biggest fuck up? Can you tell us one?
Uh,
The
I
day I said to Trader,
accidentally,
garden it for
I
2.5 hours.
well, trader. One time, I had extra comma in all the customs, and I mean every custom structure across the whole map disappeared. We had cars
Oh,
falling through bases. The hotel had like 8 cars in it. They all fell through to the ground because it's on a concrete pad. It was, but that I found that issue decently quickly. Within 4 or 5 hours, and we got it fixed. And all we had to do with that was replace a couple cars, give some people some money because they died, and go and get people from the coast, what have you. The most frustrating thing in coding I've had was uh, we had to change a couple of the trains because we didn't want red fire barrels are trader only. They're not supposed to be in the map. It is, and to go through every file and remove them was kind of a pain. And it was getting to where I was like, okay, I got all the red barrels are gone. And somebody'd say, oh, I just found one on a train. Oh, just found one on another train. I was like, crap, okay, well, shoot them. We don't want them. I'm going to go to it again. In the process of doing that, I messed up a piece of code in the train cluster file, which basically a train spawn is supposed to happen, say it can be Wobo. The train outside can be Wobo, it's supposed to be there. The event uses map group the map groups event file to tell it, okay, this is the train card type and this is its coordinates. It's linked to this one, this is its coordinates. It's linked to this one, and it's just a whole string. Well, I broke the train string, and it made every train on the map disappear, and there were no train events. And that took me, what, Legend, 2 weeks to figure out.
Yeah. Poor Rip.
oh,
Rip its elite's ass. Drove in a car in circles on the train tracks for days.
Oh,
every
Every time
single
Dragon,
night.
every time Dragon say, "I got it fixed," I pushed it through. Rip would get in his car, load up, and drive the entire circle all the way around the map, and then have to
oh,
come back in our group chat and say, "I did not find a train car," and we're like,
oh lovely.
"Shit!" And
Yeah,
finally, when he
and I
found it, it was because Rip spent hours upon hours upon hours for days and days trying to find the damn. Which then he found
just
another file
praying.
where he could actually see him live on the server, and we didn't actually need Rip to ever drive around.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
hey,
So
it
add
is what
insult
it
to
is.
injury. At the end of it, I found where the server, like the Halt bot, pulls from the server's log files to show what's happening. It's how it determines kill feed and when people enter zones and all that stuff. Well, I can look at the raw data, the actual data the server sees, and every about 6 minutes, it does a full printout of every event across the map. And of course, once I got the trains fixed, I found where it was like, oh no, you don't need to drive around. You just look at this, go to this file inside Nitrado. You have to go into what's called developer mode to see it, because if you, it's almost like time traveling. If I was to mess up that file, it would like revert everything from there down. Like it would revert back to, like if I go back 3 days and delete a line of code out of it that's supposed to be there, it would complete, our server would almost reset back
I got
to
you. So
three days
it's
ago.
like the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the singular timeline.
Right, right. So,
Snap your
so
fingers.
I don't like going in there a whole lot. I only go in there when I absolutely have to. But
Okay, I got you. I got you. All right, that's absolutely fantastic. So we talked about how you started the server, what made you get into this, start the server, uh, the hard work that you've put in. So can you tell us a little bit about the lore of the server and the history of the server, where it started, and up to date now? Can you fill us in, please?
Dragon is the
yeah,
lore. He's
the
the lore
lore.
writer. He's the
I,
Dungeon and Dragons little guy that likes to write
I,
short stories.
I, writing was always easy for me in school. I took advantage of it. It was always easy, and I didn't realize the skill I had until so. Now I'm older. I've helped write. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I've helped a couple guys write stories and integrate their players into their games and that kind of stuff. Writing's just fun. It's just interesting to me. Stories. When I was a kid, I used to watch movies, and my favorite part of watching movies was learning about the world inside the movie, like the John Wick movies. Learning that the hotel and how intertwined the whole theme is in the world, not just the face value of the movie, but everything behind it. I really enjoy that. That's, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, that stuff, and learning the world and how the politics work and are these events happening in front of us. I've always enjoyed that. So started the server. Uh, I haven't got to do a whole lot of the storytelling. Uh, I do have a couple things written out. We've had the first event, I got ambushed and all of that.
Yeah, tell us a
But
little bit
so,
about that, about how you got ambushed and the backstory behind that. What happened there?
well, and I don't want anybody to get confused. This is strictly storytelling, and it's just adding depth, and it's just giving players something to kind of cling to, not cling to, I guess, but like kind of just like to feel like the world is alive. So I don't want anybody to get confused. There is no actual plague. There is no actual resistance. This is all storytelling and fun, and it's going to tie in. There's a community event coming up as soon as me and Legend can get a break. I had it. We we had the event, and we were gonna push the first community challenge, which is a map wide. Every survivor can contribute, and if we can all reach the goal that's set forth, there's going to be, for one, a monetary reward, and then an in-game reward in the form of a new POI. Not quite Prison Island ish, but a new POI that's gonna just be a new destination people would go to, another spot to loot, another spot to hit on your cycle. But so I just want everybody to be clear. This is just a fun way for us to all kind of, tell a story, to be part of the story. I have, fail scenarios and success scenarios built in, just in case.
And
Maybe people
it's
don't
it's
care about the community challenge, and
it,
maybe it
it's
goes
a
bad.
way it's a way to try to make our server different. I've never been on a server where they've had challenges. Yeah, they have items of the week. There's only so much shit you can do that hasn't been done before in any other PvE server. And we want to be different. And the two major ways we want to be different: first, the players come first. Every decision we make is based upon how it affects the players. We can't make everybody happy, but we try to make sure the masses are thought about before we ever decide to change, add, or move something in this server. That's number one thing we're different. Um, and then two, no other server does a community challenge that I've ever been a part of. They always do fight night, or they do uh, paintball, or they do all these common things, because like I said, you can't it's Daisy's been out for so long. There's so many times people's made servers. It's all been done before. We try to think of a exciting and new way to present the same things that you've always been able to do. And that's what Dragon started doing with this process, which is taking him longer because of the popularity of the server, the coding that he has to do, the adding the second server. So he doesn't get to focus 100% on this all the time, or we would be more advanced than we are. But those are two things by how we want to be different than any normal or any other PvE server you've ever been on.
Yeah,
Okay, so
So
back
I
to
get you.
so
storytelling.
so so now that the caveat is out of the way, and I just don't want anybody to be confused. This isn't some other group. And truly, server two was not even a part of it. We're going to kind of intervene it now that the vote was to go to Livonia. But server lore to start. Um, Server started. We bumped the zombies a little bit as we were the first survivors were coming back to the shore and trying to rehabilitate this land. So the first, I would say 3 weeks or so, we bumped the zombies. There's a lot more not maybe not a lot more, but 25%, 30% more. We let that go for a while, and the mummy zombies were part of that. And then we kept track. The one of the main things for the server to make money was leather stacks. And yeah, cigarettes and stuff and all that stuff was still there, but leather stacks was a big. People made a lot of money using leather stacks, and doing that, we hunted down the population. Everybody was killing. If you saw a deer, you killed it. If you saw a cow, you killed it. If you saw a goat, you killed it. And that's just how it was. Everybody was hunting everything under the sun. Well, for me, I was like, what can I do with this? I'm seeing people are selling 10, 12, 15 leather stacks every day, all day. Every cell has 10 leather stacks. Every cell's got 10 leather stacks. What is the logical? Oh, well, you're killing off the wildlife. What happens when you do that? Predators have to find the next step. They can't just sit up in the mountains and kill the deer because the deer are getting killed by before they even make it. Everybody's killing deer. We're going extinct. So now the next step was, oh, let's get bears and let's pull them out of the mountains. You don't got to go to the far north side to see a bear anymore. Now they're everywhere. They're all over. And we've left it that way because leather stacks are still coming in droves, and 10, 15, 20 stacks of leather at a time being sold in the drop-off rooms. And so looks like the bear thing's going to stick around, and that's pretty cool, I thought. The next thing
Yeah, super cool.
was,
Super cool. That's right. So that explains why there's always fucking bees in Berezino, you bastard.
But
yep,
see,
yep.
that's where he's outside the box. I don't think about people are killing all the animals, which forces the predators to do something else because there are no animals for them to kill. So now they're going after survivors. I, I, I didn't think that. He thinks that way. That me and him are different.
Yes.
He's a storyteller. I'm not necessarily that. I don't know that I go that deep, and so it's pretty
Well,
cool.
so then the next thing I was like, which which I fit the logic to in the storytelling to what we're actually seeing. We're like, okay, Prison Island was the next edition, and that started with uh, we got to give players some sort of end game. Why are you buying an M4? Why do you have 60 round max? Why are you gearing up? Why you got grenades? Well, there's got to be something to do with it. And we didn't want to push PvP too bad because we are a PvE server. The PvP's there if you want it, and there's good stuff in there. You can get kits off other players. I mean, it's good, but we wanted something little bit different. So I looked it up. Prison Island is a gas zone, standard. We have turned those off because base locations. Because if you leave them on, people can't build in towns. Makes it really hard, and then it's everybody's building right outside the town in these certain little barns. There's only so many places, so we turned off the gas zones, the dynamic ones, the event ones. So I started looking into it. The the one bomb that has the highest percentage chance, granted it's only like zero point 0.6 percentage chance higher than every other, but the most gassed zone on the map is Prison Island. And that's when I was like, okay, what can I do with that? If the idea is that the military has stopped sending these bombs so that the survivors can build in these towns and start to rebuild this civilization, if the Prison Island was where they were focusing on, that's got to be where most of the zombies are coming. So we got an editor. We took a Skyview shot. How can we make this cool? How can we add some loot? We don't want to make it easy. It is meant to be an end game item. You're not supposed to be able to just go over there with an AK and a small backpack and make it out. It is supposed to be for the kitted, the M4s, the KAMs, and so that's how we built it. We added the gates. We made it harder to navigate. Added an absolute boatload of zombies into it, and
NBC zombies that blow the fuck up.
so that was the next
That was
step.
asked for.
So
That was asked for by a player in the server.
Tell us more
In
that
about
was
the
that
the
then.
next
Tell us,
step,
tell us
though.
how that come about.
Yeah.
That
Who?
that was
I can I add who? What player requested that? Because I'd like to have a word or two with them.
I'd
Just
like to kick him in the fucking nuts. I'd
yeah.
like to
There
kick him in the
there's no
fucking balls, I
reason
would.
specifically, but I have a baseball bat, and I
well,
gotta have a
do
word with them.
do, do we want to dox this person?
I,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
think
She
which
he's an
it
evil
knows.
one
was.
too because it was too easy. It'd be too easy otherwise,
She
guys.
knows who
He
she
Well,
done the
is.
right
and
thing.
that
He done the right thing. He did.
and that was the next evolution was okay. It's a little bit too easy because you kite zombies around. You can get them. We eliminated a lot of the places to hide inside the island, but you can kite them around and you can run. And there had to be something that you really have to think about, even if it's just one zombie inside a horde of 10. You really got to think about them, and you really have to. You can't just run through a small hallway. You have to really take your time. And that's when it was like, okay, well, Prison Island is overrun, like completely overrun with zombies. No matter we let people go for like a week or 2 weeks. The weird thing is we never even advertised Prison Island. It was literally we were testing it like our own purposes. We were going down there and testing it, and then all of a sudden a couple of people found it and word spread. Prison Island has never been advertised in the Discord, not once. Yet everybody knows about it just from word of mouth. And that's something that's really cool to me. So I really wanted to keep it. And so we let people, they grinded it out for about a week or 2 weeks before. And people were asking us, hey, I think it was two people were asking, hey, it'd be cool to have a zombie that you really had to focus on, that you really had to make sure you don't shoot them or make sure that you know where they are when you do shoot them. And I was like, well, that's perfect. If Prison Island's the number one gas zone, if if there was a military force left and they were trying to help us as we're trying to establish the society back, Prison Island might not be the most logical place to start, but it's the most overrun with zombies on this map for sure. So they sent in guys and they had grenades on them and they had, explosive weaponry. And what happens when you send, military guys into a zombie infestation? They get turned. And that's what happened. And that's where we are now. And I think it's fun. I think it's a little niche. I think it has made people slow down. I think it has made people take notice and be a little bit more careful, uh, which I think is a good thing. I think, strategy is, there's at least a little bit of strategy to it, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great addition because I was going down there and farming the shit out of it before the NBC zombies turned up. As soon as the NBC zombies turned up, that's fucking it. I mean, I'm running. I'm fucking running. I am. I mean, oh my god, I've died down there about at least 5 times from right, at least twice from my own stupidity, and then at least 3 times by somebody else's stupidity. So you got to be careful who you run with down there as well. Like, yeah, fucking. So Galaxy. I think you got a couple of questions, right, for the owners, right?
Yeah, so I've got some questions about the new server coming up, and if you guys don't mind answering some of those.
Yeah.
Unless,
Please.
or do you have more law? Do you have more law to talk about, or do you
Well,
want to
I,
go through
I
the
didn't
questions?
I didn't get to talk about the ambush, so we got to the point where it was like, okay, we wanted to do a community challenge that engaged everybody across the map. We try to pull everybody together and really make it feel like we're all contributing. Which, as soon as I can get the server 2 launched, the week after that is when we're going to launch community challenge number 1 for server 1. Then it'll have, like I said, it'll have a map-wide monetary impact and a POI impact. But essentially, I just wanted to write something to give it kind of a little bit of life. So we made it where, the resistance reached out. If there are other civilizations being built, surely they would have heard of us. We're doing pretty good. We've established we got players in all the time. We're, max pop all the time. So we, made up this fictional group. They're reaching out for help. They're being oppressed by this group called the Plague, and they need help. And so I set up a meeting, had a couple people from the team help me shoot the video. Uh, used some AI voices to do the lines because everybody knows everybody's voice, so I didn't want anybody to have to try to do a weird voice or a weird accent or something. So we just used some AI. Got everything. The video's got its flaws, but I think it's all right. It's not too bad. And then the ambush happens. I get saved. That was kind of a cool little event. People got to me. I was hungry. I was bleeding. I was hurt. And they had to nurse me back, get me back in a car, get me back to Trader. They got a little cash for it, and now I have the first community challenge is I was able to obtain a list of the items that the resistance needs in order to fight back. And we're as soon as we can get server 2 launched, I'm going to put that list out, and it is everything from bandages and T-pills to high caliber weaponry and gear and kits and full soldier head to toe getting these guys kitted. And if we can all manage to pull together enough resources and donate them to the trader to send this care package out, uh, that will be a success for the community challenge. And then that will trigger the success event, the new POI, the new
The reward. Yeah, the reward
the
is going to
reward,
be.
little
Question.
bit.
What happens if we fail it?
There's a
There is a
backup
fail.
scenario for that.
I have written a fail, so I have
Ooh.
written a fail
But
scenario.
but y'all's not gonna fail. This community ain't
But
gonna fail.
no chance, no chance. This community is gonna
No
fucking
way.
chip in together, and we're gonna fucking work together as a fucking team to make this a fucking reality. I'm sure
Right.
of it.
That's the goal. That is the goal. Uh,
I think if we fail, Fritz gets banned.
What? Say what? Say
All
what?
right,
Now he's
guys.
talking
So,
please,
Why would you?
so we're
Why would
throwing.
you?
the plague has invaded the radio station and locked it down, and Fritz is nowhere to be
You,
seen.
you mean karma? You mean karma the plague? You mean because she's behind the plague,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Can we? Yeah, can I pick who we lock down and cannot be found? I'm gonna say Karma is gonna be that person, and I know she's
I'm
listening.
backing
So
it. I'm backing it as well. Fuck
there you
karma.
go.
Hashtag team owners.
The we I can't confirm or deny that Karma is part of the plague, but I've never seen Karma and a plague member in the same room at the same time. So
Boom! I've been saying that. I've been saying the exact same thing, sir. Right? Fuck! We're on the same wavelength for you, Dragon. Karma, whatever you are, right? Whatever you listening to, just know we're on to you, right? We are fucking on to you, right? She needs investigating more, right?
yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So is there any more,
now
Law?
it
Any more, Law? Have we got?
nope. That's where we're sitting now.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that's it. Move on to
Okay.
talking about server two
Galaxy.
now.
Do you want to start with the questions? Do you want to start with the questions?
Yeah, yeah. So, in regards to server two, is the population cap going to be the same?
Wait, now, wait. Let's keep it about server one now, and then we'll get to fucking server two, and we'll put it all in one fucking block, yeah. So keep it about this server for now, and then when we get to the get in a bit, because we're not in a rush. Are we? Are we in a rush, guys?
No.
No, I'm
No.
good.
There we go. There we go. So can you try and keep it about this server for the time being,
All right.
please?
So I've got some player asked questions in the Discord regarding this server. If we want to get to some of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Snoopoo is asking, is this server going to be enlarged, and are you thinking about increasing the population count for this server?
Uh,
So
increasing the count has upside and downside. There is a lot of more people in the server is in theory better, but there's lag issues. There's
yeah.
it's
So
mostly the lag issue.
so if we increase it more, yes, you allow more people in, but at 42 with red bars, if we make it larger, that problem's only going to get worse. So to make it larger, we would have to drastically change some things that we do. So there's a lot of custom bases on this server. And the custom base itself, with nothing in it, if I drop a base in, there's no tents, there's no loot, player hasn't been there to lock it up. That base on its own, without a player being in it, stacking stuff up in it, the lag will not be near as bad as when the player puts the gate on it, the player puts the tents in, the barrels, and so on and so forth. It stacks it to the ceiling with guns, backpacks, clothing, bullets, sellables, whatever. So we're on the ragged edge right now. I I've heard from a lot of UK players, they struggle a little bit more. If I don't know for sure if that is because they are across the pond and the server's based out of Miami. I personally, even in a red bar, yellow bar scenario when I'm at trader or driving or whatever, I don't have the my car's bouncing around. Stuff happened to me. Sometimes it's delayed when I'm opening code locks or something like that. But for the most part, even in red bar or yellow bar scenario, I'm able to play the game decently unaffected. Now, other people have a different version of that. But I do think without drastic changes, like we don't have a storage limit. It's a PvP server. I don't like rules. Dragon don't like rules. That's just more stuff we have to track, keep up with, check on, send people out, go to bases, look at what they have in there. All things I don't want to do. A and B, making the time for that makes something else suffer, custom builds or dragons coding or whatever. Makes it tough. So as it sits right now, I think we're on the ragged edge of too many people, and I don't think at this point we're gonna make it bigger unless we drastically change, which means ask the players, which we've asked them, limit what you keep. Sell your sellables every day. I know Trader's not open all the time, but we got the drop off rooms, we got the pickup rooms now. You can get and sell anything you need to sell uh, fairly quickly, and that'll help. Not stacking millions of dollars worth of sellables in your base. All that stuff creates lag.
And another thing with the kind of stuff in your base, burn off what you don't use. If you take a barrel or even a fire pit on the ground, it's got storage underneath it. You know, if you scroll over and go down to the bottom, there's storage. Fireplace I think has 40. If every it is minute, but everything counts. If you
Well,
you
it's
know you
it's
have a
minute,
you have
but when it's the entire server,
yeah,
and
and and people have complained. You know, the weed thing's a big deal. I found out how to code the frozen ground and the it can only grow certain times of the year, certain times of the day. It's April now, so we're almost always above freezing. That's a cool niche for us. I think that's cool. I think that
Yeah.
when November rolls around and it goes back to where you can only grow for a couple of hours in the middle of the day, I think that's interesting. It'll make people change a little bit and just change the way you play just a little bit. If for one thing or another, or maybe that's when weed seeds will not be as much of a premium, and then that will make a fluctuating weed seed market that goes with the year, and that's kind of cool. We don't want that's been a feature. The last thing we want to do is to take a feature away
Right.
because of there's I think there's a little over 600 people in Discord now. Maybe 50 of them don't don't want to go and aren't good with guns and don't want to go fighting and have to worry about bears and getting back from the coast if they die, and they enjoy getting their base just right and growing their weed and doing, setting it up there dry and figuring out, okay, what's the best way? How can I get the most out of this? Or is it worth using lime or do I use plant fiber? Those are all cool. That's a cool little thing. And the last thing we want to do is to, for one, take freedom away from the players. We don't want to do a storage limit. I don't want to have to go to your and tell you, hey, look, man, that large tent's okay, but you got to get rid of this large tent over here. This now you're at maximum. I don't want that. And I don't want to take features away from players. I don't want to take the growing weed. I don't want to take, I don't want to take the sellables and
because
Prison Island and the
the
PvP
reason
zone.
for that is there's 1,000 ways you can play this server. The whole reason why the loot is everywhere. Every other PvE server I played on, you have to go to the heli crash, you have to go to the train wreck, or you have to go to the quote unquote bookstore, and that's the only places you find syllables. Therefore, they're dictating how I play the game. I have to go to one of those three places. Otherwise, I'm not making money. I'm not getting ahead in the server. I'm not reaching in game level. We didn't want that. Dragon spent many, many hours, days, weeks meticulously going over every single zombie, what it carries, what it's on, what it has on it, and the chances for what it has on it, so that we spread it around the entire map. So that if Fritz decides today he wants to run heli crashes, he can do that. He'll find loot, he can make money. But if tomorrow he wants to spend the day tracking and hunting animals, he can do that, but he can still make money. Whereas on other servers, you wouldn't make money doing that. So we wanted to encourage any playstyle you want and be able to do that playstyle on any part of the map that you wanted to be on, not dictated by us, the owners who decided this is where all the money's going to be put. That's not how we want to do it. And I think people know books are everywhere. I found Bibles and outhouses on preachers, uh, cassettes, cocaine, cigarettes. You can find that stuff anywhere, which makes it fun for the player who just wants to run around the town for a couple hours or an hour when they get home from work because that's all the time they have. They can't make it to
Right.
heli crashes or whatever.
Right. And that's the other part of that. We wanted to make it to where you didn't have to get in a car and plan out this route. If I got to hit this building, then this building, then we'll swing by this heli crash, and then this building, and then we're back home. We wanted to make it where, if you just want to take off walking from where your base is towards a town, and you want to hit this little village or that little village or swing by this town, you're going to find stuff. Yes, there's always going to be the meta, the most efficient way to make money, and this is, if you want to grind to a million, this is the fastest way to do it. There will always be that, but we wanted to make it. We have people that have played this server for. We're getting close to a couple of people having 300-400 hours in the server. But then we got people who've only been here, 10, 15, 20 hours. And people that don't get to play but 1 or 2 hours a day. People that don't get to do big cross map loot runs to loot up. So
Okay.
we built a server that way. We built a server for, if you're based in, Vybor. Well, if you just go loot Vybor, Vybor's a decent sized town. There's a little military off the side of it. If you're gonna find a couple packs of cigarettes, a couple books, a couple weed seeds, a couple spray cans, you're gonna make some money and get to stay close to where, and I'm a guy, Legend said it, I got kids. I play at night. My kids are asleep, but there's a decent chance that one of my kids walks in my room right now and needs help. I need to be able to walk away for 15, 20 minutes. So when I played as a survivor, I didn't get in cars and go big, long cross country trips. Not very often. Not myself for sure. I always wanted to make sure that if I took the car out, I had somebody who could get it back for me because I don't want to be the guy who takes out a faction car or a buddy's car and leaves it halfway across the map. And so that's how we built a server. If your playtime is limited, great. There's a space for you here. If your playtime is unlimited, great. Get to end game. Go to Prison Island. Go into the PvP. Explore these cool little. You don't got to worry about going into towns with bears as much as other people. That's great. But
Right.
the server is built for every play style to have a place and every play length to have a place.
Right. So if there's one thing we all agree on the democracy podcast, that's fucking freedom, baby. Right? Freedom. Like in the words of William
Hell
Wallace.
yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Freedom. Yeah. Right. So I just want to quickly try double back on you as a Brit. I just want to say that yeah, okay, when the server is bad and we get the red and the orange server warnings, yeah, the car's jumping about, etc. But we get to play at times when the server's emptier, so we get the luxury of having a decent server anyway. So it's like a double-edged sword, really. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, because the
And
server's dead. There's less lag. There's less people on. So it's
Right.
not that bad for the Europeans and the Brits.
right, right. And another thing, the 42 slots. What we've noticed is at 42 slots, if a survivor or two or three or four are by themselves, they can play the game with almost no lag. Of course, if you're driving a car, if you go by trailer, there's going to be lag. There's nothing. There is absolutely zero we can do about that. There will always be lag out in front of trader, and that's just a fact of DayZ. But
Yeah, yeah.
at 42
But
people, the most of the people can play without disruptions to their game. And what we've noticed is when we host events, the fight nights and the fishing tournaments, and you get 30, 35 people, maybe even sometimes 25, you get them all in the same area, the game really starts to slow down. It really starts to lag, and it really starts to. It's a lot of stress getting the servers pinging the 25 people all the same information, and those people are shifting around and moving, opening inventories and stuff like that. And what we found is if we can keep the events to, about 30, maybe a little bit less, we're all right. And we try to go to like Pineapple's Pub. The custom for Pineapple's Pub is not a lot. The storage that Pineapple's Pub keeps on hand is not a lot, and that's on purpose. That is intentional, so that it can be a place where there's not much around it, that there's not a whole lot of storage around it, and it seems to do okay. And when we go to ponds and stuff in the middle of nowhere, that works really well, and it seems to be good. Uh, and in our experience, once you go to 50, especially 64, I don't think we would ever get to 64. Uh, and even 50 seems like it's a little bit too much. Uh,
Yeah,
but
I think
we're
you've
we're
got a
hoping.
good thing going on by you now. The way that it is don't fix something that's not broke, right?
Right,
Right.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
So
that
we'll
too
yeah, go on.
that too doesn't it also, I mean, we're always every day trying to think of ways to make sure to make as many people as possible have a positive experience and have fun on the server, uh, because that's how me and Jagan feel. That's the best our server can be is when people are having fun, and like he said, the weed growing and stuff. Some people may not like it, and yes, it does create lag, but we're not willing to sacrifice because, like you said, you guys can get on in the morning and do a little bit better with no yellow and red bars and things of that nature. I don't want to take away something someone enjoys, uh, that I don't think creates as much of a problem as people thinks it does. The overall of if the players themselves control how much they store in their base, you don't need 110 gun cleaning kits. You need 3 or 4 or 5. You don't need 27 backup KA-74s. You might need one or two, but you can always loot is out there. You can always just run and get it. That was one thing at the level we're at now. If I was to go back to playing ever again, I have a new concept of what I do and don't need in me, on me, or in my base. I hoarded it before, but now I understand, I, dying's a big deal. You lose everything, but I enjoy that part of it. For me, the first 2 hours of anything is the greatest part of DayZ. Trying to figure out how to get back to Trader, trying to figure out how to not starve to death, get eaten by a bear, or whatever. And I think once people realize the loot will come back, and it's not end all be all that you get killed and oh my gosh, all my stuff's gone. It's devastating, but once you get over the initial anger and realize, hell yeah, let's just run from the coast and have fun. I like it like that.
And end up with a hodgepodge outfit and a hodgepodge gun, and
Yeah,
and and
it's different.
survive, and have to make the choice of, do I pick up this, do I pick up this or do I pick up that?
Yeah,
Which is
fear is
another
real.
reason.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, but to help mitigate the hoarding, uh, the businesses, the business model that we think helps is, the business either needs to be a service to the players that the player can use and utilize. So like the pub, the clinic, that's something that the players can use and help enhance their experience. Or it needs to be on the other side of that and give players another avenue to do something, whether that's, the black market or a scoop store,
The
buying,
radio station.
the radio station. The radio station would be a service, and people, oh my gosh, I opened Trader the other day for the first time in a while. I was, coding server 2. Server 2 is getting really close, and I finally took a break from it for the night. I opened Trader, and I had a dozen people ask me, "Have you listened to the radio show? Have you heard Fritz? Have you heard the radio? It's awesome. It's fantastic. Uh, we're actually probably I haven't talked to Legend about this, but I don't think he would mind. I think we're going to start making the handheld radios where they're basically, if you want one, come to Trader and we'll give you one.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
radio show
I'd
is
like to see them. I'd like to see them added to the food spawns, not the batteries, because people will farm them for the batteries. Fuck the batteries, right? But just add the fucking the handheld transceiver to the fucking with the pumpkins and the bananas and stuff
right,
on.
right. Because I
Right.
mean, I had Trader open for 2.5 hours the other day, and I had between 10 and